जय भारत। वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स क्लिप्स बाय आदि अचिंत। जैसे ही आपने मेरे बड़े चैनल जो डेफ टॉक्स बाय आदि है उसको आपने जिस तरह से सपोर्ट करा, उसी तरह से ये हमारे क्लिप्स के चैनल को, जहां पर आपको छोटे छोटे अपडेट्स, छोटे छोटे शॉर्ट्स और छोटी छोटी कहानियां मिलेंगी, इसी को भी सपोर्ट जरूर कीजिएगा। लाइक का बटन जरूर दबाइए, सब्सक्राइब तो ऑब्वियसली करिए, बेल आइकॉन दबाना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा। एंड हाँ जी, प्लीज अपने दोस्तों के साथ, फैमिलीज के साथ ये वीडियोस जरूर शेयर करिएगा। एंजॉय करिए ये क्लिप को। जय हिंद। जय हिंद, जय भारत, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint. We have, as you can see, Abhijeet Iyer Mitra, who's going to talk to us about various different things. सबसे पहले तो we'll talk about Bharat's diplomacy. What's happening? Everybody seems to be getting after Bharat. And, Jaishankar ji has written a new book. I've just started reading it. First chapter is done. Very well written. But he also talks about the same thing. So, opening, let's talk to you. Namaskar, welcome. And I want to ask you about Maldives. What do you think is happening there? Who's behind the Maldives conundrum?
Mhm. Allahu Akbar, and greetings to all our infidel viewers. You're all going to hell, of course. And so, on a serious note, Dekho, there's nothing you can do with small countries. You tell me one big country that doesn't face these kind of inferiority complex driven issues with smaller neighbors. I think it was best summarized by that Mexican president Benito Juarez, after whom Benito Mussolini incidentally was named, who also, suffered from these complexes vis-a-vis France and Germany incidentally. And he used to say, that Mexico's great tragedy was that it was so close to America and so far from God. And so, Maldives' tragedy can be in the Maldivian mind, is that it is so close to India and so far from Allah. Okay? There's nothing you can do about it. You see, you tell me which one of our neighbors has not experienced the same thing. Pakistan, Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Of course, Sri Lanka has now gotten away with that mindset after their economy collapsed thanks to China. Bangladesh
Mm.
got away from that mindset quite some time back, and now they're very happy because they've overtaken us in per capita GDP or whatever, so they don't feel the need, in their mind they feel they're the big brother now, which I'm totally fine with, as long as you are, comfortable with yourself. But tell me, even in our personal lives, Adi, how many of us, like, when you see your neighbor drive past in a Rolls Royce Phantom, don't you feel the pinch to blame him for stuff that really is your own fault, that you and I don't have a Rolls Royce Phantom? Of course we do. So this is normal human nature. And see, India used to do it. Every time something went wrong for Indira Gandhi, she used to blame the foreign hand,
Mm.
meaning that was code for the CIA and the American government. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
So this used to happen a lot. Uh, this is how small countries behave. Now, the issue isn't that. The issue is that social media guys put out this comparison between Lakshadweep and Maldives. The Prime Minister never did it. He's been going to Lakshadweep regularly
Yeah.
because there's lots of government schemes being rolled out in Lakshadweep, like in every other part of the country, which is important for them. And he went to monitor that. Now, from there, somebody draws the conclusion that this is to oppose the Maldives, etc., etc. I'd shot it down right then in a tweet. Even before this entire controversy started, I said this has nothing to do with Maldives. This is a sui generis to do with Lakshadweep, and it's been planned months in advance before anything in Maldives happened. The Prime Minister's itinerary is planned 6, 7 months in advance,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's not like somebody just decided to pull some bunny out of the hat or whatever. And then on top of that, what has happened is that some government officials in the Maldives have decided to respond to this official.
Yeah.
Now you tell me, यही होता है अगर तुम रास्ते में से दफली वालों को उठा के उनको मंत्री बना दो कर. Okay, you see, there is the party worker who needs to go out and burn, effigies of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and I don't know, Akhilesh Yadav and all of that. But those people can't be made ministers overnight. There
Yeah.
has to be a tempering phase that happens, and these are all what, 28, 29, 31-year-old kids,
Mhm.
right? Who have suddenly been made junior minister of this and junior minister of that. And they've caused their president a whole load of him. And to his credit with Muizzu, uh, after becoming president, he hasn't used the kind of rhetoric he used before becoming
Before
president. See, candidate
that,
Muizzu,
obviously. Mm.
yeah, candidate Muizzu can do whatever he likes. He can say whatever he likes. There are no real consequences to it. Once you become president, you cannot. Okay? And he's actually walked a very fine line. And he said, we don't want any foreign military presence here. It's not just India. Economic presence, jo chahe kar lo. He didn't kick out the two Taj resorts. There's two Taj resorts out there. Nobody kicked that out. Only the military presence he did not want. But remember that military presence was given to them at the request of the Maldives. They wanted helicopters, which were then
Yeah.
given to them. Then they asked us for Dornier, and we're like, "Bhai, tu Dornier ke saath karega kya?" Because these are long time
Sorry.
maritime patrol aircraft. How are you going to? What exactly are you scanning the sea for this much for? There has to be a kind of balance to what you want. Next thing you know, they'll ask us for anti-submarine aircraft. Are you going to spread a Maldivian anti-submarine net around? So there has to be a kind of proportionality. And this is responsible on India's part, which Maldives might not like. But we can't just uh, when somebody wants to bankrupt themselves, we can't just sit by and watch them bankrupting themselves. You see, there is a
Sri
difference
Lanka.
between India and China. Yeah. So in military terms, let's look at Bangladesh. In the I think early 2000s, they bought MiG-29s from Russia. Now, the
Yeah.
MiG-29 is not as maintenance intensive or as maintenance expensive as Western aircraft. And even those they couldn't afford to fly and maintain. And so they had to shift to Yak 130s and things like that, right? Now, China is the kind of person who will, if you assume India and China are mummies, okay? Uh, India is the kind of India के बच्चे वो होते हैं like a typical Indian mother. Mummy, mummy, मेरे को I want ice cream and cornetto, and she slap him and say, क्या तेरा बाप का factory है क्या? क्या take a chocobar, ₹5 का chocobar, not a 30 rupee का cornetto, and be happy with it. Okay, she's actually teaching you fiscal responsibility, which the modern generation of Chinese kids do not have because they go bankrupt buying stuff like snazzy cars and things. So in China,
Hmm.
because of the one-child policy, पूरा दिमाग एक ही बच्चे पे है. When they go and say, "मम्मी मेरे को Lamborghini खरीदना है," अरे माई का लाल जा खरीद जो खरीदना है, बर्बाद हो. Now this is what China does. China has destroyed the Sri Lankan economy. There is nothing in the BRI that is even remotely economically viable. So
जय हिंद. जाने से पहले मैं 1 मिनट के लिए आपको रोक लूं, तो प्लीज ये चैनल को लाइक जरूर करिएगा, सब्सक्राइब करिएगा, और हाँ, हमारे जो मेन चैनल को जरूर जरूर अपनी फॉलोशिप दीजिए, ताकि हम आपको अच्छे अच्छे पॉडकास्ट, इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट्स एंड जियोपॉलिटिकल अपडेट से आपके सामने प्रेजेंट करते रहें इसी तरह से. थैंक यू सो मच. जय हिंद, जय भारत.